we have to stick to the teaching of the message of the scriptures. Brother James gives us something that will help us lay a framework for this teaching. James chapter 1 verse number 13. James chapter 1 verse number 13. Let no man say when he's tempted, I'm tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil. Neither tempted he any man. Next verse. But every man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Next verse. And lust, when it had conceived, bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. Look at the very ingredients in human history. Number one, man's desire. Number two, sin. Number three, which is death. So, wherefore, Romans 5:12, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin. So, every man has sinned. For that everyone has sinned. So we're looking at why things happen the way they happen. Let's get back to Genesis, where we started laying foundation. Genesis chapter 1, and I'm going to read from verse 10. Genesis chapter 1 from verse 10. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. So if you observe, it was only in verse 10 that the earth came into play. Which means when Moses in Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth, when Moses called earth, he was referring to the creation of God and not the earth that we are in. We know by study now, and we have come to know that there are other planets, not just the earth. So we began to say yesterday that there are some intelligent questions we should be asking in the church world. For example, up to 500 years ago, the church held a belief that the sun used to revolve around the earth. That is the way that's the belief that the church held on to 500 years ago, that the sun used to revolve around the earth. So they believe that what Joshua did was to make the sun stand still. Okay? To make the sun stand still. And because of the nature of the interpretation of the earth they had in the Bible in that period, they believed that the sun stood still. But scientifically, it is not the sun that is rotating. It is not the sun that is rotating. It is the earth that is rotating. It is the rotation of the earth that brings about day and night. It is not the sun. So again, that is why there must be intelligence in our studying of the scriptures. Because we know that what stopped was not the sun. What stopped was the earth. Because if you do simple analogy, you will see that if it is the sun that is going around the earth, you can't have night and day. If it is the sun that is rotating, you can't have night and day. But because it is the earth that is rotating, that's why we have night and day. So you look at this and you see that the earth was a dry land. You have the heaven and earth above. Okay? Then you have water above the heavens and water under the earth, which under the earth waters the ground. Then water in heaven conditions the entire earth so that it is beautiful for human habitation. Look at verse 11 of Genesis 1, and that is very key. Genesis chapter 1 verse 11. And God said, let the earth bring forth the grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. Very key scripture. And I asked you to circle it yesterday. So God said, the earth will bring forth seed. And the seed will have seed. So every seed has seed. Now that's a principle in Genesis you must understand. That every seed has seed. Look at verse 12, 13, and 14. Please pay attention. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. 13. And the evening and the morning were the third day. 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Next verse, 15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. Did you observe that night and day will be divided by the lights in the firmament? Night and day will be divided by the lights in the firmament. Please pay attention. Look at verse 16 of Genesis chapter 1. Please pay attention. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Verse 17. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. 18. And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. Verse 19. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So really, what we call day and night is the revolving of the earth around its firmament. The revolving of the earth around its firmament is what we call day and night. If it turns to the moon, night. If it turns to the sun, it's day. That rotation of the earth. There's a principle you have to understand here. So now look at verse 20 and 21 of Genesis 1. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. 21. And God created whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. Notice from verse 11. When living things began to function on the earth, God created a process. When living things began to function on the earth, God created a process that everything will bring forth after its kind. Everything will bring forth after its kind.